Welcome back. Let's take a look at those markets now. Tokyo shares closed lower on Thursday morning as lingering concerns over that US-China trade dispute and the fate of Brexit weighed on markets. That's in late trade, now erasing what was earlier gains. The pound also retreated from 9-month highs, particularly in Asia, as investors began to dodge the Brexit uncertainty, while equities were mixed as a healthy Wall Street lead was offset by more disappointing Chinese economic data. Now, a second day of losses in the Far East as Tokyo's Nikkei edged down 3 points, closing out at 21,287 points. The Hang Seng slipped up 0.1% to 28,777 points, while the Shanghai Composite gave up 1.2%, edging the day below 3,000 points. To the United States now, where stocks rose on Wednesday. That's led by gains in healthcare shares and Boeing shares edging upward, even as the United States grounded the company's 737 MAX jets after a fatal crash in Ethiopia. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average picked up over 0.5% to 25,702 points, while the S&P 500 was 0.7% to the good, that rising 2,810. Now, the Nasdaq Composite also added 0.2%, closing the day out at 7,643. That negative tinge continues to just shift through the market, a sense that things aren't necessarily going as well as they would have liked with the US-China trade dispute. Of course, the Brexit saga continues to fade into the market picture as well. Here locally, nothing really to drive markets other than Exaro's earnings, which we will take a look at for now, and we'll also get to chat to the CEO as well a little bit later on as we unpack those earnings. But for now, here are the numbers and we'll unpack the market picture. Let's chat now to Maudi Linzwana from Lehumo Capital as we unpack that market picture. Maudi, thank you so much for the time. A sense of negativity, and one can tell just by the board behind you that there's been a whole host of negativity. The likes of Aspen have been long drawn in this saga. Retail is not doing so well. There doesn't seem to be great impetus to go higher for this market at present.
Good afternoon, Aravile. Absolutely right. I mean, there is certainly not much appetite for this market to go higher. The only sector that is obviously holding us up is the resources sector. And you can understand with the weaker rand, that sector will certainly be up. It's not surprising that we are finding ourselves with some of those retail resources counters rather trading in the black. But the rest of the market is under a lot of pressure. The banking sector, a lot of pressure there. We saw them yesterday coming under a lot of pressure. So that pressure continues. I mean, there are so many uncertainties. We've had the business confidence yesterday coming in very disappointing. And we've got the mining, data also came out today, very disappointing. So there's a host of negativity. You've mentioned the Brexit, the whole trade issues that are obviously unfolding out between US and China. So a lot of uncertainty, and I think this is going to be the status quo for some times to be.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scary one then, considering that we didn't have the Christmas rally we had hoped. So one would have thought that the markets are already low, and certainly would have thought that we perhaps gain a bit as the year progresses because we're coming off a low base. But instead, no, we seem to be continuing to head lower. Would you say, in your opinion, that we're perhaps done with the bull run and we're perhaps headed now, almost headed towards bear market territory?
Look, perhaps not a bear market territory, but certainly there is no, anything in sight, Arabile, which will, boost our market. I mean, you just look at our economy. We are now heading into the April the 1st. We know there's lots of, administered prices that are going to kick in there. The ESCOM electricity hike will start in and kick in. The budget from the minister, all those prices that he announced will certainly kick in. You have currently the rand at 14.46 rand, and you've got the oil price, which is also now at the 4-month high. all those are very much factors that are going to put further pressure on our economy. And I think when you look at those factors, the Moody's also coming through with a possible review. So a number of factors that could potentially see our economy continue to weaken, and as a result you're not going to see much significant improvements on the JSE, especially among the retail sector, especially among those financial counters. You could see some continuous improvement on the resources counter, and purely on the back of the weaker rand.
Yeah, one worries then whether that weaker rand is going to be a sustainable and a continued part of the process, really. That, we had some good news earlier on the rand staying below that 14 rand mark, and really good 13 rand or so, but seemingly not able to stay the course. But one thing that has certainly happened and continues to weaken is that Brexit saga. It continues to infiltrate into the markets. What would you think is going to be the outcome, not necessarily out of Brexit itself, because no one knows, but whatever impact that will have on markets?
The whole Brexit has already had a significant impact. If you look at just the UK economy itself, it has had a negative impact. It continues to be, to create a lot of uncertainty around what Europe is going to look like post Brexit. And I think the longer it drags on, the more it actually just becomes very negative for any countries that do business with the EU. South Africa being one of them. It's our largest trading partner, and of course the uncertainty there is not helping at all. And I think the latest developments further creates a lot of uncertainty. I mean, it's a confusion. One would have thought perhaps the pound would weaken, with the fact that they are saying they are not prepared to live without a deal, because what it does, it creates a further uncertainty. We know the Eurozone or the EU doesn't want to give them a simple deal. They don't want to give them a generous deal, because effectively, if they are generous with the UK, then what stops other members to coming in and say we demand the same deal? So I think we are going to find ourselves in a very difficult position in the coming months. There's still a lot of uncertainty, as you correctly said, and it creates further uncertainty for the countries in particular that do business with that region.
Maudi, let's quickly touch on the earnings of Exxaro there. The full year increasing their revenue, 25.5 billion rand. Operating profit as well going up only a touch, 5.7. It's been a difficult time for the resources, but they seem to be managing to find a way to get those gains.
No, certainly, Arabile. I joined them briefly during their presentation here at the JSE, and I mean, I can see the smiles among some of the executives there at the presentations. Certainly, very good sets of numbers that they delivered. One of the things that played in their favor is the higher coal prices. It has benefited them. And of course, we also have the weaker rand. But also, I think internationally, you've got a very strong demand coming from the markets such as India. So we are seeing improvements there. They are seeing improvements there. And that's why they've got very good sets of numbers. And I think very generous with their dividend payout as well, as a result of the cash that they've been able to generate. So a very good set of numbers from Exxaro.
Yeah. Leaner and meaner. That's the state of the course, I suppose, in the mining industry. Maudi, really appreciate your time there, bud, and we'll continue to have a chat, and hopefully that Brexit saga can be one that is sorted out soon. Maudi Lenzwano there is from Lihomo Capital, unpacking that market picture for us. Of course, we continue to have our fashion focus as well here on Point. You do want to continue to join us as we continue to unravel who exactly is Nompu and Nzinga dressed by. We'll get into all of that a little bit later on. Do stay tuned to On Point.